By the end of this video, you'll know exactly how to increase psychological safety for your Agile Scrum team starting today. First off, psychological safety is the belief that someone will be punished, humiliated for speaking up ideas, questions, mistakes, or concerns. Why tell you when I can show you with a story? We are in a team, a product owner, and 2 developers. We can call them Joe and Mary, but let's try to call them instead developer 1 and developer 2 so that you can follow. It will be easier to follow. Believe me, easier to follow a story if we call them developer 1, developer 2. 3 people, product owner, developer 1, developer 2. All of these people are in a meeting, a backlog refinement meeting. They are grooming the backlog, user stories, tasks. The developers are asking questions to the product owner, trying to understand the stories and trying to find out how to really implement these stories, these features, while breaking up the stories into smaller pieces, smaller chunks. One of the developers, developer 2, has a crazy idea. Instead of sending a user of the application, a customer, an SMS once a transfer is completed. Transfer completed, you send the user a successful message through SMS. Instead of doing that, why not simply show the user on the screen a successful pop-up message with confetti all around on the screen? This would be way easier to implement, and we would be able to release the feature to customers to get this valuable feedback from customers in half the time, way sooner. But developer 1 doesn't agree with that at all. Says that it's a stupid feature, total nonsense, because we would delay the SMS feature for even longer. Developer 2 insist, said that this person is stupid instead. This person is the total nonsense, not the idea. What is he talking about? Now, the product owner, completely silent for all this time, shouts, "Shut up, both of you. This idea is completely stupid. Total nonsense. Let's get back to the original idea and send the SMS." How did you feel about this interaction? How do you think developer 2 felt about this interaction? What are the long-term impact, consequences of this interaction, and even the short-term consequences of these interactions? You see, the team, developer 1, developer 2, or even there are other developers in the team also assisting to this grooming session. The team allowed the product owner's temper to get in the way of a core agile principle, delivering value early and often. If the team had delivered the feature without this SMS part, the team would have delivered it in half the time, getting this valuable feedback from customers way earlier. And there's also a long-term impact for developer 2. Do you really think that developer 2 will keep suggesting new ideas now, out-of-the-box ideas? Obviously not. I wouldn't do it. Why would someone do that to get cut off in this way? Doesn't make any sense. Now, let's look at a better approach. Developer 2, same thing, suggests to remove the SMS feature and replace it with a successful transfer pop-up, confetti on the screen. Developer 1 in this scenario tells developer 2 that it's a great idea. I really like how you're thinking about this idea. I really like your approach here. Obviously, it would deliver release of SMS feature, but it's a pretty good idea. Why not spend some time investigating? Why not create a spike and investigate on this idea further? The product owner mentions that it's going to take more time to release the SMS feature. He's not quite sure that the customers would love this pop-up only and confetti on the screen, but why not test it out? Pretty good feature. The product owner is excited to develop this feature, release it to the market and get feedback from customers. What do you think of this scenario? Totally different scenario here. Psychological safety in the team. Did people challenge each other's idea? Obviously. 2 people, the product owner, developer 1, didn't quite agree with the idea, but were willing to investigate. We're willing to accept that there's a new idea. We're willing to trust each other's ideas, experience. We're willing to put it to the market to get feedback from customers. And the long-term impact is also huge for developer 2. Developer 2 knows when I'm going to suggest an out-of-the-box idea, an improvement, something crazy, it's going to be welcomed by the product owner and the other developers. It might be a bad idea. Some people might not like it in the team, but I always know that they will challenge it in a safe way. I will never be punished or humiliated because I proposed a new idea. They might not agree with that idea, they might not go with that idea, but I will not be punished or humiliated by doing that. And developer 1 also, something happened here. Developer 1 now knows that it's okay to suggest new ideas. Developer 1 was also thinking about new ideas, new suggestions, out-of-the-box ideas. Developer 1 knows that the product owner welcomes new ideas, new ways of thinking. That's the power of psychological safety in the team, instead of that other scenario, horrible scenario that we covered previously. Let's talk about 4 tips to improve psychological safety in your team, in your Scrum team, starting today. Tip number 1, it starts with you. Be vulnerable, be human. Show the team. Share ideas, even controversial ideas, ideas that you know will be unpopular with the team. Share these ideas only to show the team that it's okay to do that. If someone is angry with you or doesn't respect you or doesn't reply you in a respectful way concerning this idea, tell this person, maybe privately, how to handle this situation in the future. Coach the person. You are a Scrum Master. Coach the person how to handle this idea. Show the person, tell the person how psychological safety is important. If a person can disagree with an idea, but there's a way of doing it. You can also show your failures, mistakes, to show that it's totally fine. You reframe the mistakes, you reframe the failures into learning opportunities. Show the team that it's okay to fail. Which brings me to tip number 2. Build a safe environment. If you see other people talking behind the back of someone, stop them. Tell them, coach them how and why. It's not a good way of handling things. If you see people shouting at each other in a meeting, stop them. Tell them privately, I would suggest privately, why it's not a good way of collaborating in a team. Build a safe environment where people are okay to share ideas, share their mistakes. It all starts with you. You need to build this safe environment because it's hard. If you let the team alone, build a safe environment alone, if you don't teach them how to be self-managed, self-organized, it's not natural to do that because it's normal for people not to trust each other. You need to have the skill of building this environment and letting people know that it's okay because it's counterintuitive. We worked so many years for decades in the waterfall model with a manager, supervisor telling us what to do. Now that we are self-managed, self-organized, counterintuitive, and we need to learn that. We need to unlearn all the bad mistakes, the bad ways of working that we had previously. And you as a Scrum Master should coach the team and teach the team how to do it. And you also build this safe environment. I would suggest doing one-to-one calls regularly with a team, each team member 15 minutes just to build this trust. Another tip is to reframe mistakes, reframe failures. I see this very often in sprint retros, people having a hard time sharing their mistakes and failures because they fear of punishment, being humiliated by the team. That's not a safe environment. You should be reframing this. You should be telling them and showing them that it's okay to share mistakes and share failures. No one will blame them. No one is judging them here. The goal with sharing mistakes and failures is to build this culture of experimenting. We are simply experimenting. A sprint is simply an experiment. We are making an hypothesis that this would go in a certain way. And at the end, it may be a success, it may be a failure, but that's totally fine. We are learning from this experiment. That's the culture that you want to build. Feedback is also very important in a team. We release features products, services early and often to get feedback from customers. And the same applies for the team. We want feedback from our team members also, because with feedback you can improve value. Obviously, there's a way of giving feedback. You can't just blame others and tell someone that he's stupid or his idea is total nonsense. That's not feedback. There's a way of giving feedback, and you need to coach these people. One-to-one calls, coach these people. You should be always asking feedback, because when you ask for feedback, you build this culture of it's okay to give feedback. And once people start giving you feedback, you'll realize that they'll start giving feedback to each other also. But teach them how to build this feedback. You see how powerful a psychologically safe team is. Because people are more motivated. More motivated team members build better products, more valuable products. You'll be able to get better ideas, better features, better services, better products at the end of the day. And everyone will be in a safe environment and motivated to come to work, obviously performing better. Which brings me to my next point. If you want more tips, insights on Agile Scrum personal growth, click on the video that stands out the most on the screen right now, and I'll see you in a few seconds.